fake records.
One, two. Hey, welcome everyone to College Football Trash Talk with Greg and James. This is our 19th week. Oh my God. I think we've taped more than that, but this is our 19th week. We've been taping since August the 2nd, bringing you some great college football. But anyway, we've got a great show today. The college football playoffs, they're here. They're here. We got 4 games we're going to talk about. We're going to also talk about the Heisman and get your thoughts. Greg, home field advantage, is there one? Yeah. And we're also going to go, what coach has to win? And there's a few that I have, and then we're going to get into the transfer portal. But Greg, my man, my brother from another mother,
Good to see you.
Okay, we had a light week last week, but we got a big week this week, bro.
Yeah, great upcoming week. But I mean, hey, give credit where credit is due. Navy, they showed up and they really they dominated the game pretty much top to bottom.
Yeah. So this was the guys before, like Army Navy plays every year, the big rivalry game. It was chills when the Army cadets and the Naval cadets came in. It was electric. It was unbelievable. That is what college football is all about. We both predicted Army. Army went in ranked 22. Navy was 8-3. I think Army was 11-1. And you know what? Here's what happened. And you and I were talking about this. When Army is a traditional run, like 75% or more, when you're stacking 5 and 4, and you got 2 and 1. I mean, what we said, they're going to make him one-dimensional. And Correct. The quarterback from Army didn't have a very good game, threw 3 interceptions. And that was a smart play by Navy. They were like, you know what? We're going to make it like this, 5-4, 1-1-1, and throw it. They got beat. It was not close. 31-13. It was not close. It was a beatdown.
It's not so much what the offense was very surprising that the Army offense did not score points. They were very shut down. I mean, that Naval group put in a great unit, and they performed from top to bottom. On the offense, their defense was great, and their offense was great because that quarterback from Navy just was running up and just like quarterback options, and they just ran up them like they were not even on the field. So,
dude, the stats are. It was. He only threw for 107 yards, 2 TDs, but he ran. But he ran for 204 yards.
Yeah,
I mean that's a game right there.
It was great. That wing tee thing that they had going, the Navy, what they were doing. I was hoping my high school quarterback coaches and all of them were watching what they were doing because it was so dominant, running over that team. The more they stacked in the box, they just ran right through them because they would fake option to the running back and then or have a guy in motion, fake the ball to the running back, and they'd have 2 lead blockers. And they were pulling guards. I mean, they were just well prepared. Good on them.
And that's the one thing that we, as any team is going to prepare. What is it that it's called? It's game preparation and being able to adjust. Like, for instance, if Army was getting smacked, I mean, then you have to make adjustments.
Yeah, you go into the half making adjustments.
They didn't.
No. And there's the thing that what they've been doing. They're 11-1 for a reason. They had a good offensive unit out there. They had a great defensive unit. The energy was fantastic as always. I think they were in Yankee Stadium playing the game, which was awesome. But you know what? Yeah. They didn't make any adjustments, and they just stuck to their cover 2 kind of thing, and they try to do some isolation, man on man. But I mean, Navy was like, "We're going to run it right. We're running the ball. We're running, but nobody stopped it."
So, all right, my man. Listen, bro. This is what. Let's get a drum roll. We waited for this. Let's get a drum roll. Let's get the bell going.
There it is.
This is what we've been waiting for the whole season, Greg. This is the college football playoffs. 12 team. We got 4 games, bro. So let's get into the first one, okay? We got Indiana, the Hoosiers. By the way, Drew Powell just sent me over Instagram and he said Indiana wins by 3. That's his prediction.
Wow.
So let's get into it. We got Indiana Hoosiers traveling to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
This is a Friday game, okay? 5 o'clock. So this is a night game. It's going to be big. It's like these are some of the games that are being played in some of these, like Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Penn State. These are the first time these games have been played in December 1st. Usually the rivalry games are done like around right after Thanksgiving, whatever. So this has been stretched almost a month. Weather, it's going to be cold. But Indiana, this is actually kind of an in-state rivalry game here. So listen, bro, who do you got? Indiana traveling to Notre Dame. Who you got?
Yeah, well, looking at the stats and how Coach of the Year. Let's give it up for Coach Clanton, Indiana. Give it up for the Hoosiers for having a great dominant season.
Yep.
I think this is going to be like I'm kind of riding his coattail, Drew, there about the 3-point conversion aspect. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a touchdown win. I think it's going to be close to close. They've never played one another, which is kind of interesting being so close. So,
crazy, right?
I know. This first time matching up. Notre Dame's got a lot of injuries, so I don't know how many key players are not going to be on the field. Then who are playing, who are not playing because of graduation or stuff like that. But as far as my pick, I'm going with Indiana. It's about the only Big Ten team that I've supported all year. I love the quarterback Roque. He's dominated pretty well. I think they're going to come in with a lot to prove after a very disappointing performance against Ohio State. So I think there's a lot at stake. I think there's a lot going on. They're gonna be more prepared for this game going into such a big national exposure. And what better team to beat than those Irish wannabes? They're not the guys that I've rooted for. I think they were overrated. I think they've showed up in the back half of the season. So I think they're deserving. They got in with no competition as an independent conference. But I'm going with some Big Ten Hoosier.
Okay. Let me smack you in your face right now because
kind of light.
I've been listen, it's almost like when you play me in sports, your eyes get so big because you're stepping up to the big dog.
Yeah.
The big dog. And it's your eyes get like deer in the headlights, bro, because you're like you've
Not
never
today,
gone up
buddy.
against competition like me, right? So Indiana is the new kid. They're stepping up to the stadium. That their eyes are going to get this big. This is a big moment for them. That there's teams that have been down that road. It's like, hey, it's another big game for us. Indiana has not. They went to Ohio State, got smashed. And that was kind of like them trying to keep up with the big boys. There are players that are playing with teams that have never been there, and this is the first time. It's a night game. It's going to be at Notre Dame. They got the home field advantage. You know how I feel about that. Look, I'm a Big Ten guy, but at the end of the day, I'm a realist, and I'm going with Notre Dame because I think that they've played it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish.
Correct.
Indiana started off amazing, bro. I think they were just undefeated. They were smashing teams, but they weren't playing anybody. When you start playing teams, I think it really matters. And then at each position, the 4 and 5 stars start filling all of those positions. Not only the defensive line, the linebackers, cornerbacks, and those are, now you're looking at 4 and 5 star players.
Yeah, we were talking about Indiana not playing anybody, but who has Notre Dame played? I mean, they've, like, towards the end, other than USC, all right? Notre Dame at home is 3-2-1, all right? Indiana is 3-1 on the road. So I expect their only loss was Ohio State this year. I think they're going to win by a field goal. I'm going with Drew. Indiana plus,
Okay. Well, look, listen,
that's why I'm growing the beard. I'm trying to, reflect a little Indiana Big Ten, Drew Powell look here, while you play the Irish pretty boy.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think the Irish are actually ready to go. They've had a great season. This is what I was talking about. This is what we'll get into with you and I right now. Well, no, let's go over everything. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about home field advantage. So let's go to the next game, which is going to be I know who you're going to go with here. We got SMU traveling to Penn State.
Yeah.
And and I thought that, look, and we talked about home field all the time. Who's got the advantage? Penn State, their home field advantage is always the whiteout at night. They're not. It's at 9 a.m. So who do you got?
Well, Penn State at home, Happy Valley is probably one of the hardest, most incredible venues in the country in the football division of college football. It's going to be cold. I think we got a lot of Southerners down here that are going to be traveling to the Northeast to get an experience. So, but here's the issue. Here's what I don't want anybody to lose sight of. Kevin Jennings, he is a dual threat running machine. We just saw how Navy ran over Army, and they were, 10-1 at the time, 11-1 at the time. So it's not about your record. It's not about home field advantage. It's about your competitor, who's leading your squad. I think they're going to have a good game plan. They're going to put a lot in the box to try to slow that run game and try to make them throw more so than not. I expect a lot of bubbles. I'm going with the Pony Express. This platform is the largest platform they've ever been on, and probably since I was in high school. I mean, over 3 decades. They haven't even seen it. And in the likes of like Eric Dickerson, Craig Erickson, I think, they're gonna all show face. They're gonna be there. SMU's gonna be ready. They're gonna be in their whites in Happy Valley and win in white and replicate what they can't do against. I think it's gonna be Texas versus Pennsylvania.
Well, I like that, and, after a while, I just kind of turn you off because you don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, I'm going to punch you in your face because Penn State at home is a different team. Here's the issue that we have to talk about this as well. Penn State and I read about this a few days ago. Penn State had their second string quarterback, who was a big part of their package, is out. So he's not going to be with the team. So that's going to play huge with their package and the way they run their offense, right? And the reason why I'm sticking with Penn State is I think their offense is going to do their running backs right now. The 2 of them are just so good coming out of the backfield, running the ball, whatever. But their defense. So that's why that I'm sticking with Penn State, because I believe their defense is stout. I believe that they're going to be able to slow down SMU. I believe they're going to put pressure on the quarterback. So I have Penn State winning at home. And so, when we get to these games, that's something that we'll talk about in a few minutes. The weather. So here's what we got. So the Midwest, I just looked at the weather. In Ohio, they're close to Penn State, they've got 49 degrees.
It'll be cold, but it's a morning game too. It's crispy.
Yeah, 49. But, even when Ohio State plays, it's going to be in the evening. But still, 49 degrees for people from the Midwest, that's T-shirt weather, bro. That's even tank top weather. Come on.
They're getting ready. They've gotten ready for this very cold climate. They're ready. Too much time off, I think, could make a difference between Penn State and SMU. A lot of days off, their record is not very good. SMU's good. They got a lot at stake. They got Coach of the Year in the ACC. I think they got a lot to prove, as I said earlier. And, I mean, they're 500 on the road, SMU is, and all games at home. Penn State's only 3-4. So don't count out the Mustangs, all right? I'm telling you, they got something they got a statement.
Yeah, look, and you're right. I think that a lot of times when you get a team that doesn't play for their conference, like Ohio State, we'll get into that, but sometimes teams have a long layoff. 2 things. One, you could really rest, get everybody up to shape. Any small injuries are going to heal. They're going to be ready to go. But having time off, it does. The disruption of your flow and whatever could have a big say in what happens. So let's get to the other game. I know who you're going through. I know who you're going to go with here. We got Clemson traveling to Texas.
Right, baby.
And wow, bro, this is it's going to be a good one, bro. Who you got?
Yeah, well, you know who I got. Loud and proud, all this.
Oh, you got Clemson? Right? Oh, let me write that down.
Right there, baby. Read it and weep, because you know who I love. But here's the thing. You got two great quarterbacks matching up who used to play against each other in high school for state championships. So with Cade Klubnik and Quinn Ewers coming together again, this is going to be a lights out show. I couldn't be more excited because I got friends who are all at this ACC Clemson Tiger, as you've been on their bandwagon all year. It's going to be fun. I don't expect anything it's not going to be a Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight. Let me tell you, this is not the only setup on this is going to be a Friday night light football game in Texas and Austin. And we got a lot to prove because, we were predicted to do very well in our first year in the SEC. We showed out. We got to the SEC championship. Now we're in the playoffs. This is Quinn's sayonara trip. So hopefully he plays well. Hopefully he gets the protection. We're going to get our All-American Lombardi Award left tackle back, which is great, in Banks. So here's the thing. I think Clemson is good. I have not ever said they're a bad team. I've said they're just not who I think. So I picked SMU. They should have, could have, would have, but they didn't beat Clemson, who was your dog. You had that dog in the fight. So I know who I'm going, Texas all the way at home. You can't, this atmosphere, this is the home dog. Home team, you got top tier receiver talent, defense, number one in the country, in my opinion. So it's going to be a good fight. It's almost as good as yours.
Well, look, these are the times when you ride a team all year long, like with you with SMU, you stuck with them. I'm on the fence here, and I'm going by what I've seen the whole year and consistency. And I don't know, except for Oregon, what team has played with consistency the whole year, right? And I think that, like I said, I think Oregon's on their own. I got to be honest with you, though. When I watched Oregon at the beginning of the year, they were sluggish. They were real sluggish. And then they got it together and they rolled, right? So I'm looking at all the other teams. Clemson, for instance. They got bushwhacked the first game of the season. And then they came back and then they lost again. So who do you put your money on, when you get into these situations? And look, as much as because I need to go at you in all of these games.
Yeah, don't give up on your dog. You picked him from the beginning.
When I'm looking, my mind tells me that I'm picking. If I pick Clemson, there's no way.
Then you never truly believed in the team.
That's why these games have so huge, is because you win, you go. And it's not like we're in the regular season anymore where, hey, we got next week, we're going to get it together and whatever. No, this is it.
This is it.
So when you that's why we play the game. That's like we were talking about David and Goliath, right? Yeah. We're talking that one time where you could pull an upset.
Yeah.
Well, I think Clemson's going to pull the upset. I think I'm going to ride these guys. I rode them from the very beginning. And I'm going to ride that horse out of town. And
get smacked. That's what you're going to get. That's about what you're going to get. And let me bring this to your attention and everybody. In every game that we're talking right now in this coming weekend for the playoff picture, this is their first time to be matched up with their opponents. Nobody's ever played each other. Nobody has experienced this. The only advantage I think that Clemson has, their quarterback is from Austin. This is a homecoming. We're going to smack
So Clemson's never played Texas?
Never in history.
What?
Ohio State, Tennessee have never played each other. Notre Dame, Indiana.
They have. Tennessee's played Ohio State one time.
In their history?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the books and I got nothing.
Yeah, Tennessee won. I think it was a bowl. I don't know. I think it was in the 80s. But anyway, they played and I think they played once, and that was it. Though still, one time.
Yeah.
Look,
We'll do some fact checking on that, but hey.
They played once. I know they played. Tennessee won. So Tennessee's 1-0. I think it was in the 80s they played. So listen, let's move on to. But I got Clemson. So we're going head to head on every game here. Now let's go to the night game. This is called prime time, baby. This is called prime time. Okay, we're not daytime, bro. We're prime time. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, prime time. Do you know what that is?
I think we all hear you, James.
That's prime time, baby.
Yeah, you're getting the game of the week.
We got Ohio State. Now, we're going to get into this in Tennessee. It's a night game, of course, and we got Tennessee traveling. So let me get your thoughts on this.
Man, Tennessee and Ohio State. You couldn't ask for a better matchup. I'm truly excited. From an outsider, a viewer here, I think this game is going to be lights out, especially after getting just completely embarrassed by Michigan. This is a very mad dog, a chained up dog ready to come out. So they're going to have a lot to prove and a lot to say at home, which is amazing advantage. But Tennessee, they are clicking on all cylinders in my book. They got an incredible quarterback who's, in my opinion, better than Howard. I think their running game is stellar. Their athletes on both sides of the ball are elite. The great thing, Ohio State, aside from their Oregon game, they haven't really had a big competitive game. Did y'all play Penn State?
Yes, we did. We beat Penn State.
In Happy Valley?
At Penn State. Thank you.
Okay, good for you. So I'll give you that one. But
you're not going to give us shit, bro. We went 8-1. You're not giving me shit.
Hey, this is when everything counts. All the marbles, all the chips, everything. So here it is. I think that this Tennessee offense, along with their defense, is just ready. They're coming in. They're the new dog in this fight, and there's a lot at stake. Heupel is going to be incredibly have this team prepared. Ryan Day, he's been under the spotlight. Who's his replacement?
And rightly so.
And as you conveyed and confessed openly that you want a new head coach. But I do think Ohio State is going to give it a game. I think there's going to be a little shift, momentum swing. Something is going to fluky, and then it's going to twist right towards the end, and Tennessee's going to come out on top and win in Columbus. Very much like Texas did back in 2005.
And then what happened the next year when we went to Texas?
You know what? We're talking about who came in your house. You wore this
jersey.
This is about you.
What was it? 35-7.
Where were you a minute ago when Texas and Clemson were about? We're talking them. You just stay in your seat. Chain and ball. Ball and chain.
So listen, instead of punch, I'll give you a double whack on this one. Listen, and let's touch on a couple things here. And we're going to get into another segment down the road about coaches or whatever. But the one thing is this. We have Tennessee. Now, it gets cold. It gets cold in Tennessee. The weather. We talk about the weather at Ohio State. They're playing at home, under the lights. It's going to be electric, bro. They're predicting it's going to be maybe 111,000 fans, okay? Here's the thing. Offensive line for Ohio State, we've had a lot of Simmons on the left tackles out. Then we had Seth, the center, the transfer from Alabama out. We had to make some big moves, right? So Luke Montgomery has been moved into the starting position. So they knew they had to make a change. And there's two things, right? Our defense, there's nothing wrong with our defense, okay?
Except
they allowed 10 points.
Win the big game.
Michigan got 10 points because they scored 7 points on a gift. When Will Howard threw an interception on the 10-yard line, they ran it back to the 5. It was a gift. You're welcome. Thank you very much. But other than that, they scored 3 points, okay? Our defense is stout. So if you look at the offense, Will Howard was brought in to never be a great, outstanding player. He was brought in to manage the game. And he has the whole year. The only problem was Chip Kelly came on and said, you know what, that was blaming on us, the coaches. Yeah, no shit. We're going to blame it on you because you're the dumbass up there in the booth calling these stupid plays. Listen, we better be able to run the ball a little bit, and Howard better be able to run because that's the package that we haven't seen a lot of. Right. Now, the reason why he hasn't been running, 2 reasons. The backup quarterback, Devin Brown, is transferring, but he is going to stay with the team through the playoffs, okay? The transfer from Alabama, Sayin, is going to be the guy next year. Air Nolan is out. He just put in a transfer, whatever. So I believe that Ohio State, by losing, has really, they've all had a chance to reflect and go into, guys, there's a lot of defensive guys that could have left and came back, a lot of offensive guys that could have left and came back. There's a reason why we did this. Usually in the season, if you lose to Michigan, you don't go to the playoffs. Usually it was a 4-team playoff, as we know. Probably wouldn't have gone because maybe Michigan would have gone for the Big Ten championship, blah, blah, blah. We're out. So we're in. We're in, okay? We're at the 8th seed. So my whole thing is this. I think it's going to be early on. It's going to be close. And then I believe that our running game and our passing game is too much, and our defense is too much for them. I believe we're going to win by 14 points.
What?
Yep.
You are not going to win by 14. There is not a chance in hell. Let me tell you something about that. Tennessee's quarterback is better. You know what? The only thing, you've got offensive line issues. Your only thing stout on there is your defense, but they never start fast. They always start slow. They don't come together until the second half. Tennessee's going to come out.
You're talking about the offense. You're not talking about the defense. Defense is always starting off.
Yeah.
They got too many veterans.
There's too much
for them
speed.
to start
You're going to
slow.
get some Southeast Conference speed like none other.
Dude, speed?
They're going to just
who do
double
you think
cover
we are, bro?
your
Come on.
incredible freshman, All-American freshman team.
Smith, Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. He's going to get shut down. They're going to double him up.
Tate, you got
They're going to
Tate.
take him out of the game. Then you're going to have to start throwing down your tight end. You're going to have no running game because their defensive line's going to feed. Dude, they play Alabama. They play Florida. They play Bama. They play, the Dogs. You're talking about Tennessee. They play hard weeks every week. You've had a light schedule. You have a fluff.
So who's been in the top 10 the whole season? Okay, let's go. Oregon, Penn State, Indiana,
Texas.
Okay, Ohio State.
Texas.
Okay, yeah. So that's how many. We beat Penn State at Penn State. We beat Indiana at home. We lost by 1 point to Oregon at their house.
You lost to Michigan.
We lost by
unranked.
3 points to Michigan.
We've lost SmackDown.
2 games by 4 points.
You're 14
1, 2, 3,
win.
4.
That's a joke. God, I take that bet in a millisecond.
So real quick, I got Drew sent over his predictions. He has Tennessee beating Ohio State. I hate him already.
Hell yeah.
And then he's got Texas actually winning.
That's right.
He's got Indiana winning. And he's got Penn State winning. So those are his picks. And then he's got Penn State playing Georgia because he's got Georgia beating Indiana. Wow. Dude, he's not a fan, bro. He's not a fan. And then he's got Oregon playing Georgia, and he's got Oregon winning the championship.
National champion.
Anyway.
Well, he's going to
That was his picks. So, let's get into it real quick. Let's get into the home field advantage.
Yeah.
Do you think when we get to this stage, because it's not like we're playing at the beginning of the year, because I think home field advantage is big mid-season when you need a pickup.
Yeah.
Later on. But now the teams have played probably 12 or 13 games. Do you think that home field is a big thing right now with all of the playoffs?
Oh, extremely. This is what you play for. This is the whole purpose of the bracket, is to get home field advantage, to get the buys. But they're not even getting the buys like the Georgias and stuff. But here you go. This is going to play into like the noise level. And I was listening to the coach of the year from Indiana, Mr. Clint, and they've had the noise level at practice all week, every week, just turning it up another level. They have to. SMU is going to go into Happy Valley. If it was a night game and it was a whiteout, I may be thinking differently, even though I would root for them. But man, if I was betting, I would be saying Penn State. They got all the advantage. Texas at home, you got another 100,000+ seat attendance. It's going to be a great matchup. I think every game this weekend in the bowl playoff is extremely well matched up. It's going to be exciting to see. But I just think the home field advantage, this is what you need, this home field advantage. For you specifically, Ohio State needs home field advantage because you guys going down to Knoxville, it wouldn't have been as close. I mean, this is a 7.5 point spread right now, which is that's the line on that game, which is kind of hard to believe. I don't know if there's some key injuries that I'm not familiar with, but I just think,
you're playing Ohio State, bro. Stop.
And this is playoff. I mean, they're familiar
with
be
14
championships being in that, but you know what? You're going to get a new look, better quarterback. I mean, this is the best quarterback they've had since they had Peyton Manning. I mean,
Martin. Look, I think that, we look at quarterbacks and, and he's young. Ohio State's going to rough him up a little bit. I know that. So
you got to catch him.
See how.
Y'all are big. And y'all are bruisers. All right. Y'all are the bullies and that meet in the back alley. These guys are fast. They're going to hit you quickly. And they're going to be, I think they're going to be dynamic. And you're going to be apologizing to me. It's like, bro, you may not even show up. You might have to get Drew
who we got on our defense?
We're going to get Drew to fill in.
They're all going to the NFL, bro.
Indiana and Tennessee. They're going to go to the next level.
Okay, so here's my thought. I've always been big on home field. I think it's so important. There's a lot of reasons why I think it's important. And it's not so much for the older players. Like when you have a senior or if you have a junior, redshirt junior, he's been in the program, he's probably seen it. He's been to other locations. The reason why I think home field is big for those, it's for the younger players. Younger players going into this where they feel they
feel comfortable.
They know their surroundings. They're familiar with their surroundings. Their family's going to be there. And I think for younger players, it's big. It's very big. Older players, seasoned players, they're like, hey, we'll play anywhere. But the reason why I think home field advantage is good for the younger players who haven't been there, kind of need that little extra, look up and see some familiar faces in the stands. And big plays are going to create that bell that's going to ring with Ohio State, that defense. So, look, I think it's going to be a great game. This is two storied conferences, SEC, Big Ten. And I think it does matter a lot. And it's going to be great. So here's one segment that I want to talk to you about. Coaches right now that are in the playoffs. Who has to win? Is there a coach out there that has to win? Like, if they get beat in the first round, do you think that could be they're going to pull the cord? I know some of the teams are just, hey, we're just happy to be here, Yeah. But is there some coaches out there? Who do you think?
For sure. I mean, look, you got two coaches of the year at Indiana, SMU. I think they're pretty safe. Stark, he ain't going nowhere. He's built the next Bama, dynasty. Or,
take it easy, Paul. Take it easy.
Yeah. Ryan Day. If I was going to pick a coach, I think Ryan Day is the biggest. I mean, Dabo, he didn't do anything in the portal. Look what he did. He's in the bracket. Penn State, James Franklin, not my favorite guy. I don't think he's not my kind of coach. He's very vanilla. I don't really care about his opinions. And this bracket was made for teams like that were always on the bubble. So I think they got in there, but he's not the greatest winning coach, but he's winning. And they do get their in-state picks. Notre Dame, Morgan, what's his name? Marcus
Freeman.
Yeah, he re-upped his contract.
He just got it.
Yep. Josh Heupel, he's up a new contract. He ain't going nowhere. So Ryan Day is the only coach that stands out to me after the Michigan loss, even with a winning record. He's probably one of the most prolific college winning coaches right now, next to Urban Meyer at Ohio State. Jim Tressel was a great coach at Ohio State. So the thing is, you got to beat Michigan. And so if he loses this game, I don't think that they're going to make a change, but I think he's got the most downside.
Well, I got two. I have, like I said, I think that Dabo they weren't supposed to be here.
Yeah,
quite honestly. And then you got Tennessee's coach. I mean, they're on the trajectory going up. Texas, of course, he's not going anywhere. Indiana, he signed for a big deal. Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman just signed for the big deal. Here's my thing: I think there's two coaches. I think James Franklin. And here's the difference between Penn State and Ohio State. Ryan Day is on a boiling hot seat. If he loses, now they're talking about money. The only thing that's going to keep him, if he was on the tail end of his contract, he would have already been gone.
Right.
Money's going to save him. Because if you think of the buyout from him and Chip Kelly and everybody on that roster as far as coaches, that's a lot of money. But I think that he feels it. He knows it. James Franklin, here's the difference between the two. And I think that Penn State, quite honestly, they're happy with winning 10 games or 11 games and going to one of the bowl games. I truly believe that.
I agree.
He hasn't won against a top 5 opponent. His record's horrible. But you know what? They're okay with that. Ohio State, different program, bro.
Yeah.
Different program. You have to win or you're out. And I believe that's Alabama, Texas, Georgia. Those type of schools are seriously into you better win.
There is no second place. It's win or go home. It's now.
Yes.
I mean, I agree with you, and I think Penn State is very content. But you see the climbing. Who's changing their whole trajectory is Tennessee, SMU. This is what the coach over at ASU. I mean, he's changed the whole culture of that program. I mean, they believe Boise State. They've always been in the games, in the playoffs and stuff, but they've made the bowl appearances in the past. But I don't think they're going to go past very far. It depends on who they play. It's going to be interesting. Yeah. I don't see them making the championship run, but there is a hunger. Oregon, they want to win national championships.
Yeah.
There's nobody. Notre Dame, back in the 80s, they were that dominant, but they've lost that luster. You know, they haven't been that prolific high-scoring team or the team that was just Heisman candidates everywhere.
Yeah.
So, I couldn't agree more. Franklin, they don't want it. Penn State didn't care since Joe Paterno's retired.
So, as we're talking about this, and the college football's changed. It's changed. There's, and I want to talk about this. Let's go into this segment, and it's called the transfer portal right now. We have seen over the years when the bowl games were happening, like say, for instance, that Ohio State or Alabama or Texas did not reach like one of the 5 bowl games, Peach Bowl, Sugar Bowl, whatever. And then they would play in another bowl game, and how players would say, you know what? I'm opting out. I'm going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing now how movement is happening with the transfer portal. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Penn State second-string quarterback is out. Aaron Nolan, who was the big 5-star quarterback for Ohio State, they brought in. He's seen who they're bringing in, and he's out. So used to, and I gotta. There's a thing. What I'm gonna say here is, there's a dead period where coaches can't talk to the players. Deion Sanders had this to say. He says, within the program, your most dominant players are the best recruiters. Players recruit players. Players who believe in the program are your biggest recruiting machine.
Yeah.
And you know what? When he said that, it makes it, because say, for instance, that you and I decided to go to a program, you know what? And we have a lot of players that we played with.
Yeah.
What I'm going to reach out to those guys going, hey, man, come over here. Let's build something here. And I thought that was an interesting quote. And it makes sense to me that that's the landscape right now. And also the money. The money that's out there right now is starting to escalate, and I truly believe for this to even make sense that the NCAA has to get together and they have to make a cap. They do. Because if not, Wake Forest, you mentioned something today. The coach left at Wake Forest. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, what you said, I mean, there's over 1,000 student athletes that are leaving in the portal. Over 1,000. I just stopped when I got to 1,000. I couldn't even... I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was astonished at how many. The NIL is a big game changer, for a lot of programs. And Dave Clawson, who 10, 11-year run over at Wake Forest. I mean, his record, he's won bowl games in the last 5 years, a lot of them. He's very well respected, but he doesn't have the funds. The NIL money has changed the landscape of how college players go to their school. I mean, you have one of the top defensive interior linemen out of Alabama who's leaving to go to Colorado. I mean, they're trying to make something special in the Big 12 there. And hey, if Deion, he is successful as a player, but now he's successful as a coach. He had 2 Heisman candidates that one who walked away with the trophy. And that's what he brought them there to do. And he believed them from Jackson State to Colorado. And when you get that kind of that trajectory, and you also have an experience with Warren Sapp as a defensive line coach for Colorado, who wouldn't want to go play for an all-pro Hall of Fame interior lineman? I mean, they just got another big guy that Shedeur Sanders bought him a Maybach, a $200,000 car to come. But then what did he do? Shedeur Sanders, he just donated a lot of his NIL money back towards the program for other student athletes that don't have the big money.
Right.
I mean, look at Bill Belichick. I mean, since his announcement to going to UNC, I mean, they just got one of their blue chippers right out of their state. They didn't lose them. I mean, they got a.
So let me ask you a question. If you were a college player, high school player, what's the appeal with Bill Belichick, who coached the Patriots?
He's an 8-time Super Bowl champion.
Okay.
He's an 8-time Super Bowl champion.
Is he relatable? Is he relatable to the younger kids?
Yeah, and here's the thing. He ain't going to go out and go recruit. He ain't going to go sit on the couch, break bread with families. Now, Nick Saban, he maybe if he really wanted a player. But I don't see Bill Belichick, the personality that he has, is going to be able to connect with 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. So that's been the conversation. So I think there's going to be a construction how they have a general manager and a head coach. And the general manager, just like Andrew Luck is now the GM for Stanford.
Yeah.
I mean, now that's what's going to happen. Who's going to be a better recruiter, Bill Belichick or Andrew Luck? Andrew Luck. I want to be like him. But when you have a head coach,
I would always go, me as a person, I would always go with who's been there, who's been in the trenches, and who's played. That's why Deion Sanders, I think, is such a great. Because, look, you see Deion Sanders and you've seen the tapes of him. I mean, he's probably could go down one of the best.
Yeah, he's a two-way sport athlete. He did everything. And that's what Travis Hunter is. That's what a lot of these younger kids are. Texas got a new kid, a 5-star out of Galveston, Jonah Williams. He's a 5-star safety receiver, and he's a top-tier baseball player. He's going to be playing football and baseball at Texas, who just got a brand-new head coach. The athletes and what they do now into this day and age are by far much different, but somewhat more athletically different because the young kids, they get coached up. I mean, in the community I live in, it's like I got professional NFL athletes who have rec sport training programs to make your youth better. They start them at 5 all the way up. From flag football, and they build them. And now I got kids in high school that are graduating who are getting Division 1A opportunities that they never would have gotten.
Look, the landscape of college is never going to be the same as what we were brought up. I mean, it's do I think it's better? I think by expanding and adding more teams. I don't know about the NIL. I don't know where I think it's Pandora's box. I think we've opened it up, and I don't know where it's going. Nobody knows. The transfer portal, I think it was fair because when you realize used to a player, if he was going to transfer, would have to sit out for a year. That was bullshit because if a coach left the program, he could coach, right? He didn't have to wait. So I think that's fair. Do I think it's just there's no loyalty anymore? And you know what? That's okay because I think college football was, let's talk about sports games. When you used to play college football, you would see the number and maybe even see the name on the back, and they weren't really getting any money at the beginning. And I think that's unfair. So I think using the likeness associated with the college, I think was a little unfair. Do I think that this is better for college football? I think the transfer is. Even though it's crazy, it's wild. Here's the thing that I think that it took away the lackluster. The time when you look at the recruiting classes, I always love to watch that. You know what? That doesn't mean shit anymore. Does it? Doesn't mean shit. You could be the #1 recruiting class. By the time school starts, you're going to players are going to vacate, and of course you're going to bring in players. Here's why I think the transfers really helps is, say for instance that you've got no offensive line, right? None. The transfer portal is going to be out there. There's going to be kids from Northern Iowa, all these other programs that are like offensive linemen that didn't mature very quickly, but now at 20 years old, they're 375 pounds and they've grown into themselves. And they're ready to go. So that's why I think that's good. But the NIL, I don't know what I think that's there has to be a cap. And if they don't, then there's going to be a lot of programs like Wake Forest. They're going to go, well, how can we compete?
Yeah, I agree with you on the control of the money. And, I think there needs to be a cap. I think it would help. But, a lot of this stuff, if you go back and you start thinking about players like Brock Purdy, who played at Iowa State, he was a top tier, 4-star quarterback. He made Elite 11, out of high school, and he went to Iowa State. And look at him. He went and played NFL, Mr. Irresistible, and going to Super Bowl. So, it's giving a lot of kids. There's Malik Jefferson, who was at Texas, that went to Duke, and he's transferring again to another school. And I don't need a 7-year NCAA college football quarterback, like Bowman, who played at Oklahoma State. He's moved around. I don't need a 27-year-old. What happened to kids just being in college and then going to the next level? But now they're just getting more opportunity. There's over 130 schools, college schools, Division I, then you got Division II, Division III. But some of the kids, their maturity level, their athleticism, it matures differently. It's like you've got a lot of top talent sitting on the bench that never sees the field because somebody is greenlit maybe a little bit more than them. So giving them the ability to transfer to another school, smaller or just lateral, is I think it's great, keeping their kids focused. But what's amazing to me, and I'll finish it at that, is like a lot of the kids in the portal are seniors. They're hanging on to the dream of making it to the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's where it's kind of confusing. It's like, wow, the percentages are so small. To go from youth to college to make it is like big, massive gap. And
the other thing is this: if I'm the senior and I'm getting NIL money, I may not be in a hurry to jump to the NFL, man. College life is good. I'm playing on a team, and we're being televised, and maybe my stock as a junior was here, but maybe I'm going to raise my stock.
And they just offered Quinn Ewers like $4 million to transfer and play one more year.
$4 million 1 year. As a 19, 20-year-old, that's not a bad gig.
Set your life
living the college life. Come on.
God, get a master's.
So, Greg, comes time when the season is over and there's got to be a winner, there's got to be a loser. So, through our picks through the year, I smashed you, demolished you, and I'm going to ring the victory bell. So that means that you have to take a drink or a shot or whatever. What are you going to partake in, my brother?
I knew this moment was coming, and I felt, vicariously you were channeling this moment, and I knew you were not going to let it slide by because you never like to be unrecognized as a winner of the season, a week, and hear that chirping little bell of yours. So I brought in a little Tito's.
Ooh.
I brought in some Tito's. I thought this might be good, a little Texas. And then I brought my signature cup. It's got my name on it.
All right.
And
let's not be light here. You gotta let me see how much you're putting in there.
It's solid, bro.
No, let me see. Oh, come on, man.
Bro.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. That's
That's a solid shot. That's a two-banger down in Texas. That's almost like LSU Tigerland right there. That's where they do.
All right, a little. Hey, how about Elvis right now? A little less talk, a little more action. Get to drinking. Woo! Yeah. There you go.
It's done. You win. Congratulations on a great season. And now we're in a playoff bracket. So this is a new stakes.
So the playoff bracket, we've gone head-to-head 4 games, all right? So next show, whoever loses will have to partake in whatever that is on the other one. But so if we're going to reflect a little bit over this season that we've had, Greg and I, we've always had this ability. Every Saturday we would text each other and we'd trash talk each other. So we decided to put something together. We started August the 2nd, and this is our 19th week, but I think we've taped more than that. But it's been an absolute blast with you, brother. And we're going to finish out the season. We still got a lot of football to go.
Yeah.
And then, in mid-season, we're going to be able to talk about the NIL more. We're going to talk about the transfer portal. We're going to talk about coaches, and we're going to continue the show. And we're going to rev it up because, Greg, let me just introduce you to season 2 next year. It's Texas traveling to the Ohio State Buckeyes, first game of the season. We are so happy about that, but we've got a long way to go. But what a way to introduce season 2. And, we're going to try to bring you, we're just going to try to evolve and bring you a much a better show on many, many different levels. Anthony's been with us now, so happy to have him along. But
we got
give us a little reflection,
coming,
Greg, on your season so far.
Well, it's going to be exciting. It'll give you more time in the portal to find your replacement quarterback because all yours are leaving. And then we're going to come back down to your backyard. We may have to make a personal appearance in the great city of Columbus, Ohio, because I know the following year we'll be down in 6th Street. Fiasco, fantastic opportunity in Austin. So, hey.
Maybe we'll find Eddie George again.
Yes. We'll reach out to Eddie. Let's get him on the show as a rematch, and see if we can relive that moment and make Plains home on time. But, man, it's been a great season. I didn't do as well as I hoped to as the season panned out, but it's a new one. We're going in and we're going to retire the bell after Tennessee goes to Columbus this weekend and knocks you out.
Okay, well, that's not going to happen. But listen, and we always appreciate anything you guys want to send us, talk about any team. Please, the more that you guys send us, we'll bring it on. I got Denise Dunleavy, who is a Tennessee fan, and I've known her. She was my booker for Michelle Pommier down in Miami. Big Tennessee fan. She was talking a little trash with me earlier, and she believes Tennessee's going to win, which of course she's going to believe. But we're gonna set her straight. So I put it out there for everybody. Please jump on whatever team you want to talk about, whatever team you want to give a prediction. Please let us know. And you know what? What a great show, Greg, my brother. Love you, man.
Love you, kid.
Thanks, everybody. Greg, where can they see us?
Hey, y'all check us out on CFB_TT on IG. And check us out on Twitter, College Football Trash Talk. Or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at College Football Trash Talk with James and Greg. So be sure to check us out. And thank you for all your support, your kindness, and your words of encouragement to keep bringing you the show that we are passionate about, that we love being in your life as much as you and ours.
And, look, we're all, Greg, I know that I'm in the holiday spirit. I know that you just drank that. Now you're in the holiday spirit. So,
for
all of you that are maybe traveling or whatever you're going to be doing, be safe. We wish you well. Have a blessed holidays, and we're gonna be with you. So don't forget to check us out. Subscribe. It's very important for you guys to subscribe for us, so we can keep this train going. And anyway, brother, love you, and I'll see you on the next one. Anthony, my man, love you, brother.